Now we're good to go. All right. So when you talk about the 7 laws of wealth, we always like to talk about the 7 laws of wealth, and it has to do with a mindset. It has to do with thinking. Wealth begins in the mind, but ends in the pursuit long-term direction. Thinking, there's a certain way you think is in your mind. Decide that you will not be poor. You're thinking, you're going to think that you're not, you're going to think that you're not going to be poor. You're going to make a decision. You're going to make a decision, and you're going to come up with a thought. Look, a thought that says, listen, I am not going to be poor. Believe in that. Number 3, believe in thyself when no one else is. Well, it's another way. It's how you think about things. It's how you think about yourself. Number 4, to thy own self be true. Find your unique gifts. You got to think about this stuff. So remember, we're talking about how successful people think. How successful people think. Number 5, how may I serve thee? That's definitely, you got to think about how you want to serve somebody, not based on you, but based on the God-given talent that God gave you. And then thy shall own thy own business. Definitely got to think about that. Number 7, make thy money grow. These are all thinking. These are all thought patterns. These are all ways you have to think. Okay? So cultivate big picture thinking. You might see me look over here because I have a bigger screen and I can read better. Cultivate big picture thinking. Where success is concerned, people are not measured in inches or pounds or college degrees or family background. They are measured by the size of their thinking. Let me tell you something. We put ourselves in boxes. We have this aura about, how things are supposed to go in the world based on our perception. Watch this. Big picture thinking brings wholeness and maturity to person's thinking. So when you think outside of your little minute world, it brings a wholeness to yourself, and it brings a maturity to your thinking. Not to who you are, but to how you think, right? It brings a perception, right? It's like making the frame of a picture bigger, in the process expanding not only what you can see, watch this, but what you are able to do. I'm gonna say that again. It's like making a frame for a picture. You know how you make a frame for a picture? And in the process, expanding what you can see, right? But what you are able to do. So you're making this frame, but you're able to do so much more. You're able to look. So as you're looking and understanding, you push yourself more beyond the things that you normally see. Watch this. Spend time with big picture thinkers, and you will find that day. We're going to talk about what is big picture thinking, and what you will find from people who think big. Yeah, there are people who think big, and you're probably saying, well, I'm one of those people. Well, you probably are. That's probably why you're on this webinar right now, because you are a big picture thinking. Okay, so learn continuously. So in order, to have a big picture thinking, to become outside the box, big picture thinkers, they learn continuously. Big picture thinkers are never satisfied with what they already know. Let me share something with you. I go to places, I go to meetings, and I'm sitting there, and it's not important. And people always want to, talk. Well, let me share something with you. When I go someplace and I'm in a big meeting or whatever, I know what I know. I don't need to look. I know what I know. I need to find out what other people know. So when you talk about big picture thinkers are never satisfied with what they already know. They are always visiting new places, reading new books, meeting new people, learning new skill sets. Learning new skill sets. And because of that practice, they often are able to connect the unconnected. They are lifelong learners. You're able, watch, when you are a big picture thinker, right? And you're thinking and you're forever learning, right? And there's a situation in your life, there's a situation in your business, that you can't figure out, but because you're ever learning, because you're ever meeting people, because you're ever having new skills, you're able to connect the dots to solve a problem. Remember, if you're an entrepreneur, what is an entrepreneur? One who has created an answer to a pain point to solve a identifiable problem in a person's life that they're willing to pay for. Because so if you're a big picture thinker, you come up with whatever it is, or whatever that pain point is, or whatever that identifiable problem, and you come up with the solution that people are willing to pay for. If you desire to keep learning, I want to encourage you to examine your day and look for opportunities to learn. Wow. Say that again. If you desire to keep learning, I want to encourage you to examine your day, right? And look for opportunities to learn. Listen. But watch this. Big picture thinkers listen. An excellent way to broaden your experience is to listen to someone who has expertise in an area where you don't. Wow, let me tell you what's so, I'm going to say that again. An excellent way to broaden your experience is to listen to someone who has expertise in an area where you don't. Wow. So if you're sitting around talking with a bunch of people, right, that has no expertise in the area that you're going, in the business that you're having, wow, I'm going to say that again. You should be around people who has an experience in what you want to do, right? Things that you don't know about what you're doing. I'm going to say that again. If you're ever learning, right, in order to learn more, you have to listen more. In order to listen more, you have to be around people worth listening to. You must know what questions to ask and know how to apply the answers to your life. Wow. So if you're listening intently, right, and you're going to an event, you're going to a symposium, you're going to a workshop. The title is How Successful People Think. Well, even before you get there, right, you should already have some preconceived questions. The reason you're going there because you're trying to find out some information about something. So you should already have some questions in your mind about whatever it is you don't know. Are you with me? So it says you must know what questions to ask and how, not just ask them, but how to apply them to your life. See, well, you get a lot of answers about a lot of stuff. But the key is to apply them to your life. Listening will teach you a lot more than talking. Wow. Listening. Listen, we're talking about how successful people think. I'm not talking to you. You might be successful on the level that you're successful, but I'm talking about a whole nother level, a whole nother realm of successful people, right? That you know, right now, 3-4 generations down, right? They don't have to worry about nothing. Listening will teach you more than talking. Exactly. So what we're talking about, how successful people, I'm talking about a person that their great-great-grandchildren already have corporations made up for them, waiting for them when they turn 18. Matter of fact, they have corporations already in their name when they less than a year old, 4 or 5 generations down the road. We're talking about success. Now listen, if you're on this, right, don't get so success. We're talking about a successful way of thinking to elevate us to a place of wealth. Okay? Because people are successful in all areas of life. And we want people to be successful. But people who are successful, and no matter what area of life there is, these are the principles that they follow. Listening will teach you a lot more than talking. When you meet with people, it is good to have an agenda so that you can learn. See, when you look, you should already know an agenda. It has some things already set up before you meet people. Do you go to events and just go to an event and la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di, bam, just going to an event because You think you might get something out, but you have no agenda. What are you trying to get out? What are you trying to learn? It is good to have an agenda so that you can learn. It's a great way to partner with people who can do things you can't. So when you're talking about how successful people think, successful people get around people who think better than them. Successful people get around people who think better than them. You know? Successful, I'm going to say this again. Successful people get around people, watch this, who know more than them. Listen, a couple of questions I ask you. If you know, with you and 4 other friends, 5 of y'all, with your total income, is it more than $500,000? Listen, your 4 closest friends, who are all 4 of them smarter than you? Listen, big people, big picture thinkers recognize that they don't know lots of things. Wow. You know, if you talk to my wife, she'll always tell you, my wife asks me a lot of questions. I'll be like, I don't know. When I was in college, right, I used to wanted to be able to have tidbit of information. I always thought if I had tidbit of information, that I'll have all this information. I can sit in any venue, at any area, at any time, and be able to talk about anything, any subject at any time. What I found out over the years is that tidbit information, it doesn't make me better. It just puts me in a place where I can't learn. Big picture thinkers recognize that they don't know lots of things. They frequently ask pertaining questions to enlarge their understanding and thinking. We just don't ask questions to be asking questions. We're asking questions to enlarge our understanding of a particular thing that we're not familiar with, that we don't have the answers to, that we don't know everything about. We enlarge our thinking, our understanding, so we can enlarge our thinking. With a better understanding, I can think a better way about a particular situation. If you want to become a better big picture thinker, then become a good listener. Sometimes what I do when I'm on the phone and I'm talking to somebody and they're talking, I actually put the phone on mute. Not because a background sound, because so that I can listen and don't interrupt them. Look. Writer Henry David wrote, many an object is not seen, though it fall within the range of our visual ray, because it does not come within the range of our intellectual ray. Wow. It comes in the realm of things that we see, right? But not things that we know. It comes in the realm when you look at this, when you think about it intellectually, I can see it, but I don't understand it. Human beings habitually see their own world first. Wow. I'll say that again. Human beings habitually see their own world first. So when, for instance, if I'm going to an event, I already perceive, where I'm going to sit at, where I'm going to park at, what I want to do. I have a tendency, and and I know I'm out of that now. I had a tendency, I always wanted to get to park a certain area so that when I got out, I wouldn't have to worry about nothing. I always had to get to a certain place where I wanted to sit on the end in a certain particular place so I wouldn't have to worry about it. Now, watch this. What's so powerful about this? So because I had my own understanding of what I thought that I needed to do when I got to that event, so I'm looking for my particular seat, but there's a seat across the way that's empty, right? And there's 3 people that's around there, right? But I sit in my normal seat instead of going to where those other 3 people who are very influential, and I would have been able to sit around and meet new people. Wow. Big picture thinkers realize there's a world out there besides their own. Whoa. Listen to what I'm saying. We're talking about how successful people think. We're talking about the cultivation of big picture thinking. Look at, so if you're big picture thinkers realize there's a world there's a world out there besides their own, and they make an effort to get outside of themselves and see other people's world through their eyes. Expanding, cultivating bigger pictures. So you're looking at things differently through the eyes of some other thing. You might have been looking at something the same way for years and years and years because you only been looking at it the way you wanted to look at it, your perception of it, the way you think it should go. But a big picture thinker, right, steps outside of the realm of what they think they know, right, because they understand they don't know everything, right? So they're around people who know more than them. That's the first thing. So if you're not around people who know more than you, you'll never be a big picture thinker because every time somebody tells you something, it's going to be something you already know. Or you're going to try to impose, watch this, human beings eventually see their own world first. You're going to try to impose on that person because it doesn't look like the way you think it should look. But a big picture thinker goes outside of their own realm, goes outside of their own understanding, goes outside of their own thinking, goes outside of their own culture, goes outside of their own ethnicity, goes outside of the spirit to raise themselves to a place to see things through the eyes of other people. It's hard to see the picture while inside the frame. Wow. So if we're at a place where we're only looking at things our way, if we're at a place where everything is about the way I look at it, if we're at a place, right, that we're not looking at through somebody else's eye, then more than likely we are not big picture thinkers, or we're not thinking how successful people think. And we're not as successful as we think we are because we're not able to see things in another realm. To see how others see, you must first find out how they think. Wow. Man. To see how others see. To see how others see, you must first find out how they think. And the only way you're going to find out how they think is you listen to how they think. If you're listening to them. Becoming a good, watch this, it's coming back to this. Becoming a good listener certainly helps with that. If you become a good listener, you can see how other people think. And when you see how other people think, you can expand, watch this, you can expand the way you think. You can expand your understanding of a situation or an issue. You can expand your thinking based on not just your perception, but the perception of someone else who's been down that road, who's doing that particular thing. Who look, just because you got A to Z, I'm not all the way to Z. I might be A to D. Somebody might be at E, F, and G. Well, the people at E, F, and G know more than people from A to D. So we need to understand there are people, God will place people in front of us because he needs to expand our thinking. But the only way we can expand our thinking is that we must first listen to those who know things that we don't. And we have to humble ourselves and realize we don't know everything. And we can't make the world, make everything, let the world be looked at through our minute eyes and our minute thinking. So does getting over your personal agenda and trying to take other people's perspective. Getting over your personal agenda and trying to take the other person's perspective. Wow. Putting your stuff to the side. Putting your stuff to the side and trying to take other people's perspective on particular things. On a thing that you're passionate about. That can take you to another realm, can take you to a better understanding of what it is you want to do, what it is you want to be, how successful you can be in that area in your life, in that purpose and plan. God has given everybody under the sound of my voice a purpose and plan to do a particular thing on earth that nobody else can do. But he lines up people to get you to that place to be able to do the things that he needs you to do. There's nothing new under the sun. There's just some things that are new to you, even in your sphere of influence. Live. Live. The value of life is not in the length of days, but in the use we make of them. Watch this. A man may live long, yet live very little. We said the value of life lies not in the length of days, but in the use of them. It's not how many days you lived, but how did you use the days that you were living? You see, we take days off, right? We take time off, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. But when we take those, look, 80% of our time is doing things that add no value to our personal life or business or whatever. 20% of the things we do add value to us. So we need to focus on the 20% to increase it at every point that we can get. The only way we can increase the value of things that we do in our life is that we have to expand our thinking based on getting around people that will allow us, that we can listen to, right? That we can look, right? And that we can learn and understand and our thinking at a greater capacity. The truth is that you can spend your life any way you want, but you can spend it only once. Wow. Live. Becoming a big picture thinker can help you to live with wholeness, to live a very fulfilling life. People who see the big picture, watch this. This word keep coming up, expand their experiences because they expand their world. Woo! Listen, if you from a big city, like when I lived in the Bronx, do you know some people never left out the Bronx? That's not big, even though the Bronx was big to them, right? They had downtown in the Bronx, but they never had to leave the Bronx, right? Even though if you catch the train a couple of stops down, you hit Manhattan, which is Harlem, Manhattan. Then you got Brooklyn, and you know you have some people that never even been past Harlem. So their world, everything that's based on their world is based on their culture of living in the Bronx. Everything in their life, right? Listen. Even in spiritual matters, based on being in the church, if the church don't expand itself to a greater portion of the kingdom, you're only going to deal with a portion of the kingdom that is in your little sphere of influence, that's in your little area. You're not expanding. If you always say, we always say, we're to the world, we're to the world, right? And we're all to the nation, but we never left the city. Some never left the state. People who see the big picture expand their experiences because they expand their world. As a result, they accomplish more than narrow-minded people. Wow. See, narrow-minded people look tunnel vision, one way, because look, my culture dictated this, my environment dictated this, everything about me dictated this. This is how it's supposed to be. When I was growing up in the project, you lived the way that project people live. But when you walked outside the project, that was a whole different world. You could not listen. If you didn't expand yourself, you would bring a project mentality to places where projects don't fit in. Wow. As a result, they accomplish more than narrow-minded people, and they experience fewer, watch this, unwanted surprises. Woo! Because your fear of influence has expanded. Your fear of understanding has expanded. Your fear of thinking has expanded. So when things happen, right, it doesn't take you by surprise. It doesn't shock you because you know there's a bigger world out there than what you think and how you think and how you act and how you behave. So when you see something out of the realm that you normally do, it doesn't shock you because you understand there's a day-to-day learning that you're learning every day. And they experience fewer unwanted surprises too because they are more likely to see the many components involved in any situation. Wow. Listen, let me say that again. Because they are more likely to see the many components involved in any given situation. You're not looking at a situation just based on your thinking. You're looking at a situation because you have expanded your thinking, because you have been around people, because you have listened, and because you have looked, and because you have a better understanding of the world outside of your little minute world, right? That things that look, that you can dissect something when you see it because you have more information, because you have been around people, you have been around successful people and the way they think, to be able to not go overboard of a situation, issues, people, relationships, timing, and values. You're able to look into it to see that. Look, I always tell people I have to do training in my business on one side for the housing side. We deal with mental clients and guys coming out of prison and women and homeless people, right? So I always say, look, they'll tell you something, right? But you have to look, you can't be shocked. You have to go beneath. You have to investigate. You have to find out all the layers of what they're saying to get to the real problem, get to the real problem or solution. You know, you can't let your feelings get in the way when somebody does something. Okay, why did they do it? There's more to than what I'm just looking at. You know, spiritually, have they been influenced? You know, spiritually, demons influence people's mind all the time. If I know this is out of a person's particular character, then I need to investigate that there's things happen for that person to get there. Things happen for that business to get there. Things happen for that issue, the people, the relationship, the timing, and the values. They're also, therefore, usually more tolerant of people in their thinking. Wow. Big picture thinkers, right? Live a whole life, and a fulfilling life. And they are more tolerant of people and their thinking, because they understand it ain't all about them. They understand that they are still learning, that they're ever learning every day, that they get to evaluate what people say, that they look on the surface, it's not always like it, it's not always what it seems to be. Why should you receive the wisdom of big picture thinking? Intuitively, you probably recognize big picture thinking as beneficial. Few people want to be closed-minded. No one sets out to be that way. But just in case you're not completely convinced, consider several specific reasons why you should make the effort to become a big picture thinker. Amen. So, watch this. Number one, big picture thinking allows you to lead. You got your pencil and papers out? Y'all taking notes? Am I going too fast? Somebody let me know if I'm going too fast. But anyway, number one, we're only going to go through 3 of them tonight. Big picture, because we actually have way more than 3, but we're only going to go 3 tonight because I want to keep my time. You know, don't want to bore you guys too long. Big picture thinking allows you to lead. Wow. You can find many big picture thinkers who aren't leaders. Okay? And you guys can look up in the chat. You'll see people chatting, and you can always pull it up, and they're doing some good stuff. Watch this. You can find many big picture thinkers who aren't leaders, but you will find few leaders who are not big picture thinkers. I'm going to say that again. You can find many big picture thinkers who aren't leaders, but you will find few leaders who are not big picture thinkers. What? Leaders must be able to do many important things for their people. Watch this. See the vision before their people do. Let me tell y'all something. All y'all out there that are visionaries, right? All y'all that out there are visionaries. Let me get some water for this, okay? Listen to this. Don't make this mistake. Watch this. Stop getting frustrated with people because they look. You got the vision, and you're telling people what to do and they can't do it. Stop getting frustrated with people. As a visionary, people will never see what you see because you see it first. The only way that they'll see what you see if they do what you say. And then they'll say to you, oh, I see what you're talking about. I'm going to say that again. If you're a visionary and you're on this, and more than likely you are, because we're talking about big picture thinking allows you to lead. So see the vision before the people do. They always see more of it. This allows them to, and we're going to go down the road. But listen, so people will never see what you see because you see it first. Don't try to convince them to see what you see, because they can't. But the only way, hear what I'm saying, the only way that they will see what you see is they do what you say. And they will respond to you and say, oh, I see what you're talking about now. So stop trying to get everybody on board with your vision, because they won't get on board unless they do what you say. Seeing the vision before their people do, they also see more of it. This allows them to, watch this, size up situations, taking into account many variables. Wow. So you see it first, right? You see it first, right? Right? And then you're able to size up the situation and take into account many variables. Leaders who see the big picture discern possibilities as well as problems to form a foundation to the vision. Whoa, to build a vision. I'm going to say, leaders who see the big picture discern possibilities, right, of things how it could be, as well as problems, things that might could happen, to form a foundation to build a vision. So you're going to see, you see what it can be like, and then you can see what can keep it from being there. And because you have those things, now you can put a foundation together based on the possibilities and the problems of the vision. Wow. We're talking about big picture thinking. If you have a big picture thinker, if you become a big picture thinker, it allows you to lead. It allows you to see possibilities. It allows you to see problems. It allows you to put a foundation in place. Once leaders have done that, they can. Okay? So once you saw it already before everybody, you got the situation, you got the things in place, right? Once the leader have done that, they can, watch this, they can now sketch a picture of where the team is going, including any potential challenges or obstacles. Listen, a big picture thinker, before things even get into play, is already ahead, understanding the possibilities, understanding the problems, understanding the potential challenges, understanding the potential obstacles, because you have a broader view now, because you're thinking outside of the box. You're thinking outside of your particular realm, how things are supposed to do. The goal of leaders shouldn't be merely to make their people feel good, but it's to help them be good and accomplish their dream. Wow. Woo, man. The goals of a leader shouldn't merely to make people feel good, but to help them be good and accomplish their dreams. The vision should actually will allow leaders to what? Show how the future connects with the past to make the journey more meaningful. Man, listen, I don't know about you, but right now, I can't wait to get around some people that know more than me. I can't wait to be around some people that I can't wait to just sit there and be quiet and sit at people's feet and just glean. I can't wait to just see how people is looking. Wow. I can't wait. Listen, I can't wait, because I understand now what's looking for me as a leader. Now I'm able to look at things before people do it. I'm able to see the possibilities. I'm able to see the problems. I'm able to see the potential obstacles and challenges. And because I see that, it will help me. It will help me to help people be good and not feel good, and will help them accomplish their dreams. It will allow me to show how the future connects with the past and make the journey more meaningful. When leaders recognize this need for connection and bridge, it can then, watch this, when we can bridge your past experiences, right? Look, that's supposed to be elevating you to your future. Everything in your past, right? Well, look, it was a reason to propel you into your future. But you got to be able to connect this thing, right? Look, your future is already done. At the end of your life is already done. Your past, now we just need to connect your past and your future become your now. Wow. Watch this. And when they can bridge this, then they can what? They can what? Then they can seize the moment when the timing is right. Woo! In leadership, when to move is as important as what to do. We know what to do, but what's important is when is it? Look, when to move is as important as what to do. As Winston Churchill said, there comes a special moment in everyone's life, a moment for which that person was born, when he seizes it and is in his finest hour. Timing is everything. Timing. Because we've done all these things, right? Because we have an understanding of all these things. Because we have expanded all these things, right? Watch this. And then watch this. And we seize the moment when the time is right. When we have connected the dots. Remember, big picture thinkers are able to connect the unconnectable. Woo! Whether building roads, planning a trip, or moving in leadership, big picture thinking allows you to enjoy more success. People who are constantly looking at the whole picture have the best chance of succeeding in any endeavor. Number 2, big picture thinking keeps you on target. He that is everything, he that is everywhere is nowhere. Man, he that is everywhere is nowhere. He that is all over the place ain't nowhere. However, to get the right things done, you also need to consider the big picture. Only by putting your daily activities in context of the big picture will you be able to stay on target. Big picture thinking keeps you on target. You've got to think about big things while you're doing small things. You're thinking about the big thing, right? While you're doing the small things to get you to the big things, so that all the small things go in the right direction. Number 3, and the last one for the night. Big picture thinking allows you to see what others see. One of the most important skills you can develop in human relationships is the ability to see things from the other person's point of view. You will never see something from another person's point of view as long as you keep talking. Let me give you a tidbit of information. Whenever I'm talking to somebody, if they cut me off before I finish my thought, right, I know they're not listening, because they're thinking of what to say while you're saying. You said something to them in the first couple of words, right, that triggered them a response based on what they heard, not realizing if they allowed you to finish the whole statement, they might learn something new. Woo! How many times do you cut people off? Because they said something, and they said something that didn't agree with your thinking. But you never let them finish to find out, just maybe if we had listened to the whole thing they said, we might have learned something to expand on what we already knew. Wow. It's one of the keys to working with clients, satisfying customers, maintaining a marriage, rearing children, helping those who are less fortunate. All human interactions are enhanced by the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes. How? Look beyond yourself, your own interests, and your own world. Hey, look. Anybody have any questions? We can answer some questions right now. I'll take some questions. I'm not taking statements. I'm not taking all that stuff. I am taking questions. If you have a question, put it in a question form, and I will answer your question. If it's not a question, I'm not going to recite it, nor am I going to say it, because you're not here to make statements other than in your chat room. This is a question time to ask questions. We have some great, let me go here for a second. I'm going to go to the chat line. Transformation talks. Definitely taking notes. Keep your pace. We will be able to get back to these slides. Yes, you will. I want to give you more ear right now. I'm running. I'm running in pace. That's great. Okay. When you meet with people, we should already have an agenda. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. Putting a lot of good notes, a lot of good things going down there. Hey man, I appreciate all of y'all. I really do appreciate all y'all. So here we go. So, hey, it's Apostle Ray. How are y'all doing? Y'all are doing great today. I just want to tell y'all something. So,
there is a promise of a life of peace that was made.
So look, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, right? We want to thank you guys for tuning in, right? So let me cut off my recording real quick.